Hello, everyone. It is a Tuesday where we have random events, and we are back here with the Enlightenment series, which is why I'm wearing my Buddha earrings, even though they don't match my shirt. I mean, of course, according to this series, I'm fated to do this. I have no control. It's just happening, and I feel enlightened about it. Okay, so get
Yeah,
used to my earrings not matching my shirt. Yeah,
everything is as it should be.
that's right.
Hmm.
All right, here we go. So we are talking about we've talked a lot about fatalism, accepting things, building sandcastles of extreme zenness. And now we're going into something called the functional mind, which says that the functional mind makes us act and lets us make automatic choices. The worrying mind makes up a story about what is happening. So the functional mind made me put on these earrings, but then the worrying mind was like, oh no, do they match my shirt? Are people going to think I have bad fashion or whatever? So if we zoom in, we feel good when we win and bad when we lose. Like if I was zoomed in, I'd be like, oh, these match my shirt, I feel great. But zoomed in, I'm like, oh, these don't match, I don't feel great or whatever. But if we zoom out, then we can enjoy the situation and watch it from afar. So zoomed in or zoomed out is the choice here, and it's all consciousness at play. Okay, any thoughts about that piece?
I had a yoga lesson today, and the teacher was saying that the mind was seeking pleasure and fearing pain, and that is the source of our it's zooming in, it's when you be zooming. So it wasn't speaking about the roaring man, but just the mind in general. And if we just think, oh, I am in a situation, and not thinking of the if we have pleasure or not, of if we can fear something or not, or if we just can be in the situation, it would be less a drama. So yeah, I kind of getting it. But
Any
then
comments from you, Jay-Z?
later on in the book, Jay-Z.
Oh no, what were you going to say then later on in the book?
No, just after that, he's saying we have no responsibilities, and then I think, shit.
Oh,
what
oh, I see, I
what
see.
are we gonna do with that? But okay, that's later.
I see. Yeah, I agree with this whole the functional mind thing is like what carries you through. Like, you do the functional mind is the chop wood, carry water business that like you can, your partner can break up with you and you just want to feel emotions and sob in a corner, but you have to chop wood and carry water. You got to go to work. You got to do this. You got to do that. And that is, yeah, what keeps you going to the next scene in the movie of life. And then we'll see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the choice here is to make decisions automatically and then not worry so much about those decisions. I mean, in the enlightened person's pursuit of their own movie, they're acting in the movie, but they're not constantly worrying about how they did. They're just in the movie, enjoying the movie, right? So, let your mind be functional and make its decisions. Like I made this Buddha decision because of the context of the show. Like it had a certain function, right? And so that was my functional mind making that decision. But I don't need to worry about that. I can just be like, oh, green and blue together. Oh, right. I don't have to worry and fret about what that means or kind of thing. So I guess in order to be enlightened, we want to kind of erase the worrying mind. And if we're doing too much worrying, we want to zoom out.
Yes.
Okay. So the next section is waking up from the dream. One day we realize we are not in control and we get confused. I guess that's the day we wake up from the dream.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Claudia is definitely confused by the idea that she's not in control.
No, I don't need control, but I don't. I mean, no responsibility that is hurting my feelings. But yeah, I don't know. We put people in jail because they are responsible of what they have done, but it was just a movie. I don't know.
A
Well,
horror movie.
no, being put in jail is like part of their movie. Like there's Andy, you introduced to me the term spiritual bypass. And that's when you're like, well, that person can't control themselves, so it's cool that they did whatever because that's who they are and that's how they are and that's the role they were meant to play, right? But so in this case, if someone, commits harms against somebody else and it's also against the law of your society, then you are what you have to do is hold them accountable. And you hold them accountable and you have a trial and you throw them in jail if they're guilty. And then, like, that is holding people accountable. And so, like, yeah, maybe they weren't in control and they are still held accountable.
Hmm.
Wow, it's both. That's really interesting. I mean, well, yeah, I like that this idea that waking up from the dream is that we realize we're not in control. It's like, why do we dream of being in control? Like, what is, if life is a dream, you're not really in control. Like, you're not in control of your dreams, which is kind of why they're beautiful, is they just happen and we don't judge a dream really. I mean, let's say that you dream that you cheated on your partner. You could judge that dream and be like, I'm a horrible person. I had that dream, but we don't do that. We just say like, and then I had this weird dream, you know. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Is life a dream? Is it what is it? What is the dream?
Yeah, I thought we were like an experiment of fate or something, an experiment of of an higher power. I don't know. I don't know. It's a game. It's a
What do you
movie.
guys think when people say life is a dream or
Experiment.
or
Yeah, I don't think it's a dream. Not like I don't think that's a an accurate analogy from like what I think of as dreams because I think dreams are random and it's that they don't necessarily have meaning. Yeah, I'm not a big proponent of that, but I think that life is meaningful and I also think that we don't have control over so many things because we are all entangled with each other. So, for example, I lived my day as though we were going to record this episode tonight. But Andy, you could have texted me, 20 minutes ago and said, no, we're off for tonight. And then everything would have changed. Like, I am not in control of that by myself. And I think that acknowledging it makes it easier to ride along through the scenes of our movie and be like, all right, well, I thought I was going to do this tonight, but as it turns out, that didn't happen. So, and then it's that functional mind that's like, well, I still got to eat dinner. So I'd still make myself something to eat and eat it. And then, like, time marches on and we do different things.
And may I come back to the responsibility and
Yeah.
use my life, for example? I had a very important discussion with my father when I was like 25 or something, and he died just months after that. And I was reproaching him that he didn't took his responsibilities as a father all the way through. So and then I understood because he was able to explain to me the why and how and the reasoning and the causes and things, and then I could put him back into his movie with his own parents and his own life in own circumstances, and then I could like relativate or something in English, I don't know. And I could say, okay, you are not completely responsible because you are coming from somewhere, and yeah, you couldn't do better than that. This was what you could do, and I can't hold you responsible. I can't expect for you more, taking more responsibilities because you are the person, you are coming from, you have your own history, you are your own reasons of moving that way. So yeah, I can understand a little bit about responsibility, like, because we have the other other things in life that make that we are not responsible. We are the product of our education and our world and our, but it's still a certain point because, yeah, I know we have no free will, but I'm still on my horse on that. I'm not completely, even if you have a past, and if you are in a certain civilization, you still have, I think you still have a choice. So yeah, you can take responsibilities. I have to close the window because of the noise outside.
Okay. I have a question. What's it mean when somebody is living their dream?
I think that in this case, people use the word dream to signify like vision.
Yeah, like what you envision happening, you are making happen on this
Mm.
earth.
Yeah.
But what if
Maybe.
your vision is to like do something nefarious? Like I visioned stealing something and then I did. Like you were not living your dream. Like that's not like it's like a nice, cool vision.
Yeah, it's normally a bit more elevated than stealing, I think. But it's like all those high goals hit the goals that they have set for themselves, like marrying before 30 and having children and having a big house and having a good job and a career, and I don't know, those goals.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I don't think that's the same as
If that's their dream, I guess
Yeah.
when you're right, like if when people say you're living the dream, they usually are referring to like a shared vision that society, like a shared vision among community members or society that is determined to be like a model to aspire to.
Yeah. That's not the same as what he's talking about here. He's kind of saying like wake up from the dream, the false idea that you have control and go into this state of not being in control, basically.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting too, because maybe not where you live right now, Claudia, but where I live, at least in the United States right now, being woke is like a term that people use in a derogatory way. And it seems to me that like being woke or awakened should be a good thing. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I like wokeness. Like, people always talk about it derogatorily, but it's like people who are woke, it's like they're awake and alive and alert and their chakras are open and flowing and they're like, they're firing on all cylinders. And I like a woke dude, or a woke chick. Like I'm like, yeah, I'll yoke to the woke. But I think people make fun of it because some people think they are woke, but they're actually not, like they're not really firing all cylinders, but you can say you're woke either way. What do you think? You like woke, don't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. When I was first putting up my dating profile, I'm like, I want a woke guy, like I want a woke boyfriend. Like, because otherwise we won't get along.
You want a woke yoke. Because
Yeah.
like in the Bible you have to be equally yoked. So if you're woke, you
Oh,
got to yoke to a woke dude.
yeah, yeah. And I also, yeah, I just really don't get it, except it's kind of like this, like, anti-intellectual, I don't think it is so much of like, oh, people who say they're woke but really aren't. I think it's like there are people who have been propagandized to be anti-woke because there are people in control in our political system or culture who uh who want to retain the control that they have. So that's why they don't want awakened constituents.
So interesting, the origins, the term woke emerged in the 1920s as a signal for Black people to be aware of the systems that put them at a disadvantage. That's interesting. Like be awake to what's
Mhm.
going on. Woke originated within the Black community as a term signifying awareness of racial injustice and social inequality. Initially, it was used to encourage Black individuals to be alert to systemic issues and fight for justice. Over time, woke has evolved to encompass a broader awareness of social issues, including gender inequality and LGBT rights. Evolving
Mhm.
meaning, woke has expanded to encompass a broader awareness of social issues. Present day usage, while woke is still used in positive ways to describe individuals who are alert to social injustices, but I also think alert to spiritual topics. Like I think yeah,
Mhm.
it has also been adopted by some on the right side to criticize progressive ideologies and social justice movements. So it's like calling people woo woo is be like, you're so woke. Oh, you're so like woo woo kind of.
Yeah, it's like derogatory to be aware of social or to prioritize social justice. Seems nuts to me.
Mhm.
But that's because I'm a woke lefty, I guess.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's a backlash against being awake and aware, right? That's just backlashing.
Yeah, yeah. All
Okay.
right.
I have news for you guys.
Mhm.
What's
You
that?
are already enlightened. That's our next section.
Woo! All right.
You are energy at play. You're preoccupied with thousands of things, doing, thinking, and feeling. You can reach enlightenment. You are already enlightened. A drop of water trying to find the ocean is actually you realizing that we are the ocean.
Whoa.
Dude, if that didn't wake you up, I don't know what will. Dude, I'm awake.
Mhm.
I'm waking up. Okay,
Mhm.
well, what do you guys think about this? You are already enlightened. So,
Yeah, but I think it's like being aware of what matters, of being aware of who you are, of what you are, of I think that is important. Like that being aware that you are not your past, you are not your story. Well, and you are in a story, but it's you are not the story. And being aware that there is more than the mind, being aware that your energy is the same as the one in the tree and the one in the sun and the one I don't know. So yeah, I think it's just being aware of it. We I think we just we all have the potential to be enlightened, but the awareness is not the same. I guess I'm not there yet.
I think what he's saying is even if you think you're not aware, even if you're not aware of it, you actually are enlightened.
Yeah.
So you don't
Yeah.
actually have to have the awareness in order to be enlightened. Like you don't have to anything. You don't have to have read a certain book. You don't have to believe that you're enlightened to be enlightened because you are. Like you don't have to. Yeah, and anything. Like there are no prerequisites to being enlightened.
well,
And
I think
go ahead.
he's saying like at a base level of consciousness, we are just an enlightened being. We do have the light if I just sit here baselining, I have light inside me, right?
Yeah.
And then, but then we like cover it up with all these thoughts, and like, and the autistic people in the crowd apparently think at a resting brain state, we think 400% times faster than a normal brain. So we have like 400% unenlightened, like worrying mind or whatever. Like, but I just feel like if we all baseline and just took all that layer off of everything, and we just sat there with light inside, that's enlightenment. You know, it's almost the not trying that is enlightened. It's the not giving in to the try, being a tryhard that is enlightened. Like, stop freaking trying, just be enlightened.
Exactly.
Or being a tryhard and not worrying about it.
But
That's enlightened too.
Mhm.
I do kind of disagree with this section because I do think you have to learn, or at least we're learning in this series, how to stay zoomed out when you accidentally zoom in too much and you care too much. I think we are learning to be more enlightened.
Okay, I would say that an enlightened person still sometimes forgets that they're enlightened, and it's as there's a practice at it, the cycling between forgetting and remembering gets shorter and shorter. So, because, right, so if we're saying that where a person isn't enlightened unless they remember all the time that they're enlightened, then like where's the threshold, right? So if I'm not enlightened now, but a year from now, I have practiced more and now I am always remembering that I'm enlightened, I'm still the same person. So was former me enlightened or not enlightened? Because there's the same person.
Well, I would make the case
You,
that anyone who has sun hitting
you,
their eyes is enlightened. They have the light inside.
yeah, you just said we are all and always enlightened, but sometimes we forget. So yeah, you were always enlightened. From the Inca point of view, you have a seed, an Inca seed in you, and you can let it grow or forget about it. Yeah.
I have a new band name for you. It's
What's that?
Enlightenment Baseline.
Enlightenment baseline.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like enlightenism. Enlightenism.
About seeds of enlightenment.
Okay. So let's talk about superiority, which is taking control over our consciousness for some moments is our ego just being at play, you know? So it's like, should we try to avoid the concept of I and we? But like, I guess if we try to take hold of our consciousness, he's saying that's an ego moment. So he has a,
I see. The section that we're on is talking about like the phases of enlightenment. And that first the one of the first like phase or ways of expressing once you get enlightened is like you start being superior about it.
oh.
And um like once you realize like wait, I am enlightened because either past me is enlightened or future me or somewhere around my life chain I am enlightened, which means I'm enlightened now. Or like everybody has the potential to be enlightened, so we actually all are. We're just covering that up or forgetting, right? And then so when you realize that there's typical human ways of acting, and one of the first ways you're inclined to act is to be like, ha, I'm enlightened. And then their ego responds by arguing about like that their understanding is right or trying to push their understanding on the other people, like me trying to explain to you that like, well, if you just think about it this way, that if future you is enlightened, then now you're enlightened. And it's like that's a mental trick that worked for me to claim my own enlightenment. So I try to push that. My ego makes me push that onto other people.
Claudia's not very pushy. You and I are super pushy, and she's just kind of not as pushy. Well, I don't know. Okay, so I'm just gonna be like, "What's up? I'm so enlightened. I'm just like the most enlightened person that ever lived.
Mhm.
Hello, I'm your enlightened astrology teacher. I'm your enlightened best friend." That is so weird. We asked that on Facebook, "Are you allowed to say you're enlightened?" And people just got up in arms. Absolutely not. Anyone who says they're enlightened is a narcissist.
Yeah, yeah, like if you say you're enlightened, that proves that you're not.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, what if it was in your fate to say you were enlightened? It's just like, geez.
Yeah, then it's in their fate to say that you're not.
Don't get all egoic about enlightenment, you guys, because we that would be like saying you're a drop, but really you're the ocean.
Hmm.
The ocean has no ego, it just has waves.
Yeah, and then that's the other thing is that you can start saying like, "Oh, I can never use the word I because what is my vessel here is just a drop of in the ocean of humanity." So, this drop
Astrologers
will only
Astrologers are more enlightened
drop
than
by
anyone
drop.
because we see the whole circle of life. Like we see consciousness, like Leo takes on egoic nature, and Aquarius, its opposite, melds into the ocean, and Leo takes on egoic. And and it's like we actually see the dance of consciousness in astrology of like take on ego, flow away from ego, take on ego. Like it's like a symphony. Yeah, I pop right into my ego formation when my job calls for it.
Yeah, right on.
It's funny because like okay, so I'm reading self-management for actors, and we're actors on this Moira Press YouTube channel. It's like we're acting as ourselves, right? And so, like, you're supposed to write scenes for you and your friends. And I'm like, oh, in this scene, I take on an egoic formation because we're making a movie. We're not watching a movie because we're content creators who are online. So we're making a movie. But in this scene, I take on egoic formation. And then in this scene, I'm just in with the masses of, like, if someone else was our leader and you and I were in the audience, like when Debbie DeStefano does the Chiron talk, you and I we're not in egoic formation. We just sit there, like, as part of the ocean. But like if it's our job to be the constant, like right now, we're supposed to take on egoic formation because we have to have something to say or there'll be no episode. So I don't know, like I see them both as part of enlightenment.
Yeah, I'm with you.
What do you think, Claudia?
I don't think anymore. I just let things go. No,
That's
I
so
mean, I
egoic
mean,
and just
this is
not.
also like if I have no say in where I'm going, I just let go. I mean, huh? I'm gonna be on my sofa for the rest of my life. I have no choice to make. Huh? I don't get it. Just don't get it.
Yeah, and
But
you
I
need
I like I like to zoom out. I like to see problems like far from me and not having too much attachment from a problem or a situation. That is fantastic. But that's all the enlightenment I can do. I mean, I understand and I felt the feeling of being just um, energy. Fantastic, great. But I still have a life to live, and how do I do that without making choices? So yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
enlightenment has killed Claudia and she needs more ego. I'm gonna send her a lion bling and we like wear this around your neck and take on the Leo formation.
Thank you.
Ooh, nice.
Mm.
Okay. Well, let's go on to the next section because Claudia's stressing me out and now that she's dying and she's basically died through enlightenment. Okay. In love with non-duality, there's a phase where you learn to love being zoomed out. Claudia, can we get you there? Can you be in love?
I'm in doubt. I can't be there yet.
Are you in love with zooming out, Z?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And this is the part where you're so in love with it that like you can't stop talking about it like in all like situations. So then you get really say annoying at parties because you're like, but we're all enlightened and I'm enlightened and you're enlightened and all you can just zoom out and let go and you have no free will and everybody else is like, yeah, can we get this guy a beer and like annoying?
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
I that's what they're saying the next phase is.
Yeah, they're gonna call you woke. They're gonna be like, you're so woke.
Yeah, exactly. With the eye roll.
Yeah, totally.
Roll was good.
Well, I think I went through this phase as an astrologer where like I remember I got in this fight with this girl, I won't say her name, but I knew her transit when we got in the fight, and I was like, "Oh, Mars is hitting her Mercury, so that's why we got in a fight." And like when she came over to talk to me about the fight, I told her about her transit, and that pissed her off. She's like, "You can't do that. That's messed up and all this stuff." And it's like that was me being a little bit too into this like zoomed out lens of like it's the transit, it's not even us, you know. And that was my form of doing this, which annoyed people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have to be careful about what situations you bring up, like, and we're all just in a movie that in which your dad just died, you know? Like,
But
There's
but
a time and place to zoom in. Okay, sorry, Claudia.
but today I did something because I have read that Sun is now in Aquarius or something. Sun's moved
Gemini.
out Gemini, not anymore in Taurus, and it's good for communication. So I've sent two important emails today. Hmm. You see, I'm
Yeah.
learning.
Oh wow. You should come to Tuesday group, Claudia. Well, yeah, I think it's really important to know when to zoom in and just be human. Because like living as a detached guru type is just it's so pedantic.
Well, I think life could be very, really, really, really much nicer for everybody if we could all zoom out. But in the next chapter, he's saying everything in life happens automatically. That is fantastic. Automatically. Hmm. So I don't have to sit on my sofa the whole time. Okay. And then do if you do something, it's an illusion. You are not doing, you are pushed by the universe to do that. Okay, you make no choice. You okay. I don't know. I mean, but still it will be less drama for everybody, for everyone. Like um or you made that or that choice. You go to somebody and you say, oh, you have made that choice instead of that choice, and she can just say, yeah, but I don't drive, I don't have the hand on the wheel, it's not me, it's the universe, I have no responsibility. So less drama. Fantastic. Life is would be great if we were all enlightened, but yeah,
I
I'm
have
happy
a
drama.
wild, I have
I
a
love drama.
wild, I have
No.
a wild inappropriate question.
Yeah.
Do you want someone to zoom out when they're making sweet love to you? That is so inappropriate. But I'm just like if I was in that moment and someone zoomed out, I'd be like, what is wrong with you?
Hmm.
Sorry, that's too personal.
I haven't experienced that.
All right. I'd be like, woke, get woke.
Yeah.
Wake up.
Yeah. Just a little bit, not too much.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, we can leave that as a rhetorical question. for all of those listening. Okay, let's go to the next section, which is one hand on the wheel. One hand in the ego and one hand in the consciousness. So this is how you're supposed to drive. It's like you got your hand on the wheel with your ego driving, and then part of you is zoomed out. You're like, brrr. So what do we think of that?
Um, Little by little, you'll notice everything in life happens automatically, and the idea that you do anything is an illusion. And then you zoom out, and then you are like, wow, this is awesome. And then, bam, you zoom back in because you forgot. And then you have to remember to zoom back out again. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I guess what he's saying is you keep one hand on the wheel because you don't trust that you can take both hands off the wheel.
Well, astrologically speaking, you know the sun symbol is the circle with a circle in the middle. It's like a big circle, like the sun in our chart, right? Is like the big circle with our little circle in the middle. And it's like all of consciousness and your one piece of consciousness, right?
Mhm.
And in ancient Greek, the word for degree of a chart is a Moira, which is a fate we're here to partake in. So like our sun degree and all the degrees of our 10 planets are fates we're here to partake in. So when the moon hits your sun degree by transit, you're here to take part in the fates of the second degree of Pisces. Like you're here to do some yoga, right? And so I think the reason we drive with one hand on the wheel is because have an active role in creating consciousness, right? Like if we just zoomed out, we just were a passive force, like that's not the right. You have to put your hand on the wheel to take part in the fates that you're here to partake in.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I like it. I agree with it, and because I don't follow their conclusion that that you have no free will. I also don't believe that you have no free will. I think there is some amount of free will in the choices, and I think that those are the specs in the big amounts of where you don't have influence.
Yeah, I think the same. And um, you, you work with the transits and the planets and the signs and everything, but you also can say, okay, today will be a hard day for me to communicate with people. So I will try to be careful when I communicate with them, or I will even avoid to communicate with them when it's possible. So you can make a choice. You can, like, I don't know, adapt. And so at the end of this part, he says, you continue to get to keep one hand on the wheel just to be sure. And I think we don't have both hands on the wheel. We have just one, and that's okay. And realizing we are more than our ego, that's fantastic. But thinking that the ego has completely no part, I don't know, that's too much. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's do one more section, which is giving up. It says change from having goals to finding happiness. So he says just give up on your goals and just go for happiness, and that's enlightenment.
Well, I think contentment and being grateful is really the start of happiness. um, when you realize all that you have, and that, he started with, we always need to buy a new thing, and we always need to, I don't know, change a car, or have the nicer car than the neighbor. Well, that was not in the book, but I think it's a thing. And and um but contentment and being happy with what you have and being grateful for what you have is really the start of happiness. Yep, I think. And you, what do you think, Jay-Z?
I agree with this, and that this, like the way that they're saying it is giving up. Like giving up just means well, it's something like when we are practicing manifestation, that you cannot be too specific about the way you want your desires to be manifested exactly. You kind of have to go with the vibe that you're going for, and then you allow the universe or God or whatever you want to describe it to provide that thing to fulfill your desires. And I think that that's the one hand up here, and then the does what you're focusing on, your vision of your desires, is the one hand that's here.
Yeah, but he's saying something important, I think. If you can use the word manifesting and read the last sentence differently. So you can still try to manifest things, or you can still manifest things, but it's without stress, without fear, and with the idea that without the idea that there is something wrong with the situation as it is.
Mhm.
So when you start with contentment and you're really happy with yourself and really happy with life as it is now, or yeah, but still want more because you want to evolve, you want to grow, then but it shouldn't be from a feeling from lacking.
Mhm.
And that is important in manifesting too. It's the wrong vibe. What? The wrong vibe. Yeah, the wrong vibe. I'm French. So yeah, that is really important. The fear and the lacking and the feeling that life is wrong as it is, that's not gonna help for the manifesting. It's anti-manifesting. Yeah. Okay.
All right, you guys, what a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much, Claudia, for being here. I think we'll do one more episode on this enlightenment thing, so we'll get that on the schedule. And this has been a great series. I think, uh, you know, people have probably learned a lot from this, and thank you.
But they can read the book in 2 hours.
That's true. True.
But our discussion is so nice.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
there's a few people who watch it, and it's really for us. So, all right, we'll see you all later.
Okay.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you, Andrea. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
JD.